Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and others. Welcome to the fourth episode
So
of...
wait a minute, what you're saying is you're hitting those people that identify as others? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just trying to be politically correct, Roma. I don't want to offend anybody.
This ain't a politically correct podcast.
I don't want to offend anyone.
Okay, don't offend anybody. Leave that up to me.
Welcome to episode number 4 of the Hey Roma show. I'm your co-host, Mario Mancini. I was a jobber. Here in the studio, is this a studio? Is our host in the voice of Hey Roma. You know why? Because it's Paul Roma. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, the man of the hour, and we do mean an hour, Gabe. Paul Roma.
Right. And hey, listen, everybody. Listen, Roma Nation, I know you're out there. I know you're watching. I really appreciate it. We had a great show last week. A lot of fan base. I know now that there are Mancini maniacs because we've been getting a lot of hits, and people are dubbing themselves Mancini maniacs. That's another great thing. Keep them coming. Keep passing this out there because we have a lot of things that we want to do for mostly our military, and you know what that's all about. That's where in the world is, and that's was brought up, created by a very good friend of ours. We love him to death, Stephen Lee. Just again, we're going to get that to take off, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're going to make it happen. We're going to make it happen for everybody, not just the Marines, the Army, Navy,
Air Force,
you name it. We're going to get it done.
National Guard, the reserves, any way, firemen, policemen, any way you serve the community or serve our country.
Yes, and we're going to be bringing on some more veterans, which we think are going to be very exciting.
Yes,
we're excited to have them. So that's always a blessing. And there's something that I want to talk about, which is, we touch kind of dabble into everything, right? It's not just one thing. It's like everything. And what I want to bring up is a young man's name. That's right. This kid's 14 years old. 14. I've seen this kid. I've seen what he can do on a bike. And I'm not talking about the one you pedal, okay? So you know what I'm talking about. His name is Race, R-A-Y-C-E, Bush. He does this enduro racing. He competes in the Appalachian competitions enduro series. We're going to have him on the show. I want you people to, see about this. And again, this kid, you sponsors better jump on this kid. I'm telling you right now. Because after he starts making these moves, you're probably not going to be able to afford them. So we'll go there. Probably in a week or two, we'll bring him on. Is that right?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay. What else? What else on the agenda today? Oh, and by the way, I'll just tell you something. Our guy, and he is our guy, Gabe
Sayers.
Gabe's going to be firing off those questions to us.
It's good because it's the 4th episode, and you know what? We missed a lot of questions. Although we are all about the truth, and that's the most compliments we have is they love listening to the show because we're so honest and truthful. But, guys, you could be rude and you could be nasty. You could be negative if you want. Just make sure it's a point, instead of like, hey, Mario, where's Luigi? We have no time for that.
Right.
So it's like if it's an insult or anything like that, that's cool. Just make sure it's a point that we can argue or make, discuss counterpoints. Right. You know what I mean?
Right. And if we don't like it, we're gonna send it back straight at you. Just the way you sent it to us,
right?
Because we don't cut, we don't pull punches.
No, and we don't pull any punches. The fortunate part is that Roma's, it's not the 25-year-old Roma, and he'll go, "Where are you? I'll meet anywhere you want."
Listen, we don't want to do that, man. We don't want to go there. Listen, I may be full of,
that's not,
but it's aging.
Yeah, so. No, that's not the Roma we have anymore. Thank God, because there'd be a lot of people on their backs. But
a lot of trouble.
Oh yeah, but we'd be more than happy to debate, or we respect your opinions, and we be more than happy to go back and forth. But
And we could agree to disagree.
right, just keep it like, you know,
Keep it clean.
Yeah, and keep it, you know, somewhat of an intelligent argument, you know.
Yes. Yes.
So, or an intelligent point, I should say. So, yeah, sounds good. Hey, Roman, did you watch the State of the Union?
You know, I did. And this is what's going to make you laugh real quick. Could be because of my senility, but I actually asked Gabe, you know, out loud, and I went, who's our president? So, but I did watch it. Here's my take on it. And I know we're going to get people to fire back, and that's good. Why? Why did he push the blame on our former president, number one? And why did he throw so many lies out there? You know, like the economy's better, unemployment is really kicking, right? We got all these people. Well, first of all, COVID it was there, so they got rid of everybody, number one, and the businesses all tanked, number two. So, like, you didn't really do anything. And then he went into immigration and started talking about illegals coming over and how he's going to fix it. Dude, seriously, you've had over 3 years to do something about this. And what have you done? You've let in 1 million illegals. They murder people. They rob, rape and pillage. And then you catch and release. I mean, what's it all about? What, you know, do they really think that the American people are that stupid? And I'm talking about Republicans, Democrats, independents, you name it. I'm talking about all of them. Because again, not everybody is up to speed. You know, you get a bunch of idiots that, you know, their forehead's been stamped Democrat or Republican, and that's the way they vote regardless of whether the guy's doing a good job or not. That's not cool, right? I mean, that's not what's going to help our country. That's how I see it, you know? And then they start playing the race card, which really, really pisses me off. They play the race card. I mean, seriously. They play, you know, like everybody's ignorant. That's what really upsets me. I just sit in my chair and I'm screaming at my TV like this guy could hear me. First of all, he can't hear you if I was talking in his ear because he's so fucking gone. But aside from that, you know, that's how irate he makes me. But let me digress. What do you think? Because I know you watched it.
You really want to know what I think?
Well, probably shorter than what I said, but
This is what I think. I think that they took the President of the United States. I think they prepared for this night for a while.
about 3 years.
I think they took the President of the United States and shot him up with adrenaline or gave him some sort of something.
Well, his eyes were open the whole time.
Because he had a burst of energy that he hasn't had. Okay, so I think for the sake of the State of the Union, I think they gassed him up, Roma. I really do, because you know what? The thing about it is he talked about the border, and he said it was bipartisan. And when he said it was bipartisan, the whole place went boo. Well, most of the conservatives did. Booing the hell out of him because it wasn't bipartisan. You know, and also one of the 13 people, one of that military person, I apologize, I forgot his name, who got killed. His father was there. Oh boy, that's not cool. His father got, oh boy, am I going to get it. His father, I think we're going to get banned.
I got it covered.
I think we're going to.
I'll get you.
Oh boy. So I think his father was there and he started screaming at Joe Biden because his son got killed in the military,
Right.
and they arrested him.
I know they took him out.
No, they arrested him. It's a misdemeanor to interrupt anything to do with Congress. It's a misdemeanor. They arrested him. They booked him. It was interesting to see Joe Biden, so gassed up. But as gassed up as he was, whatever they juiced him up with to make sure that he delivered, there were times where he really didn't make sense. What's really interesting is, obviously Donald Trump is doing very well, and we do support Donald Trump. There's no secret about that. JFK Jr. is starting to make some noise, and he's a Democrat, but he's an old school Democrat. Old school. He's starting to make some noise, and he's gonna end up making a difference in this race. And it's gonna affect Joe Biden obviously more than Donald Trump. But Biden, he got interrupted a lot last night, and
Sure did.
He could embrace his age and say, it might not look like it, but I've been around for a while.
Yeah. He's been around for a while, hadn't gotten anything done. Over
No,
the years.
listen, I'll admit, when Joe Biden was younger, much younger, in his 40s, I always wondered why he didn't run for president of the United States. I liked the guy. But you know what? This is what I always say, and I say it about the profession of law. And I use it as a baseball analogy I use. When you step in the box and you can't hit the fastball anymore, you got to get out of the game. If you can't hit the fastball anymore, you got to get out of the game.
Yeah, well, look, here's what I see too. I look at it from a different level view, from up top. Why run for president if you're making so much money and nobody's keeping an eye on you in the Senate or in Congress, right? I mean, again, I bring up the fact that how do you become a multi-millionaire when you're supposed to be getting paid by the American people? You're supposed to work for us. Can you imagine? We pay Gabe more money than we pay ourselves. Well, how does that make sense?
Well, listen, there's no doubt that
he's happy. Look at him. He's giving him the thumbs up.
Listen, it's a known fact that he used his office to do business and to make millions.
Right.
We know that, and that's the strong part about Donald Trump when he gets up there and he goes, "I don't need anybody's money. I have my own."
Right.
You know what I mean? And
right.
and turns down the $400,000 a year salary to be president of the United States. He donates it. He goes, I don't want it.
Take on such a task.
Right. And how many times did he stand at that podium and laugh and go, I don't have to do this. I'm losing millions and millions of dollars in my business by being the president of the United States. I don't have to do this.
Right.
I could just bury myself in my business and become richer and richer. I don't do that. You know what I mean?
But then you keep, Biden keeps all these how can I say this? Non-workers around him. Kamala Harris, I'm going to ask you a question. Kamala Harris, and I'm asking you people out there, Roma Nation, damn you, and Mancini's maniacs, right in right now. You tell me how many of you ever saw Kamala Harris on TV making statements about anything she's done, other than last night. Where's she been? Does anybody know? Because I sure the hell don't know what she's being paid for. She's not doing anything.
Well,
but on the flip side, I will tell you this. Very surprised and actually happy that I saw a different Donald Trump. Still passionate about America. However, he didn't hammer the living hell out of everybody else. And you know what? I dug that, man. I thought that was really, really cool.
Well, it's hard to talk to me about Kamala Harris Very difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well,
I'm going to bite. Why is that?
I think she's cute. She's got a real pretty smile.
Oh, that's good.
I like Kamala.
That's
She-
good. Then
Every
you
time
should-
she
you voted
smiles,
for her then, right?
Every time she smiles, I go, "Oh, she's so cute. She's adorable. I like
You know
her."
what we should do? That's what I'm going to do. Gabe, write this down.
When I
I'm
s-
going to get you a stuffed doll of her. How's that?
When
You could carry her around
when-
on your shoulder.
When she puts that big smile on
big
her
smile.
face, you just want to go up
Yeah.
and you just want to
It's
go up
going to
and hug
encompass
her.
her whole head.
You just
big
want to
smile.
you want to go,
teeth.
you just want to hug her.
I'm going to
you know what
beat
I mean?
you half to death with it
She
after I buy it
she
for you.
looks like Aunt Kamala. You know, you just want to hug her. You
Kamala.
just want to hug her.
Yeah, I want to hug her. Oh, boy, you have no idea. Hug her. What she's done, nothing for this country. Hug her.
I thought she, you know,
She's been on vacation for 3.5 years, just like Biden.
she's so cute.
I don't believe this. Really, seriously, it's unbelievable. Gabe, you got anything
I'm
for
sorry.
us?
I do, but I have a question.
Here's a question.
Chad Haps says some people are afraid that RFK Jr. may pull a lot of moderate Republicans away from Trump. What's your thoughts?
Wow, actually, that's pretty. Yeah, that's yeah. I mean, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
He's taking that shot. I like him, but on the flip side, I don't know if he could pull it off. I don't think there's enough
Well,
behind him.
here's the deal. The one I don't think he's going to be able to get the ones all the way to the left and all the way to the right, but he might be able to sway the people that are in the middle toward the center a little more. You know what I mean?
On the cusp. Yeah.
He's definitely going to make an impact. He's definitely going to make an impact. Yeah. And let's face it, if I was him, this is what I would. I'd come up and go, "Hi, it's me. Aren't you sick of both of them? Really? Aren't you sick of Biden and Trump? Aren't you sick of both of them? I mean, that would be my angle."
Yeah, but he can't because the Democrats are going to come crashing down on his head.
Well, the thing about it is listen, I don't know if Joe Biden's going to die in another term if he got it, but the thing about it is the American people have to open up their eyes. They have to realize what they're looking at, and they have to have common sense.
Yeah.
Come on, look at that thing last night. And Biden's up there going, and you go,
Well, they got all his gaffes, They already pulled the gaffes.
yeah, but did he do a couple of lines before?
Let me say something right now. Listen.
Or did they shoot him with adrenaline? Did they give him some speed?
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Wholeheartedly, I really think they gassed him up with something.
Listen, when we're dead and gone, okay, I'm telling you right now, somebody 40 years from now is going to be watching Netflix, if it still exists. They're going to be watching a documentary channel, and all the shit that they had to do. It's like Weekend at Bernie's, man. They had a prop.
Well, he is Bernie.
Well, yeah, they had a. You
know
know
what I mean?
You know what I mean. You're going to find out everything they had to do with Joe Biden, and listen to this analogy. Listen to this comparison. Joe Biden is nothing more than Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Somebody else is singing for him. He's just lip syncing.
That's it. That's it.
This is the presidency of Milli Vanilli.
Yeah. And how much adrenaline can you give somebody before they die?
Well, I don't.
He's gonna have a heart
Roma,
attack if that
Roma,
keeps
there's
up.
no doubt after last night in a private moment when he was done, he looked at somebody and said, "I want an ice cream cone and I want to go to bed right now."
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Brother, and like I said, I've never seen him keep his eyes open like this the entire time.
No.
He had to be on something.
Something.
Without a doubt.
I agree. I
hope we answered his question, though.
Well, yeah. Like I said, I think to the
Nelly Vanelli. I like that.
the extreme
Good
right
stuff.
and the extreme left, they might hold their position. But he's right. The moderate Republicans. Yeah, you know what? He might grab them too. Listen, I wouldn't cry. You know what I mean? If we had a younger somebody with fresh thoughts or was old school, there's no doubt. Here's the problem. There's no doubt in Joe Biden's career. Joe Biden was a politician.
Right.
Donald Trump is not a politician. However, because he's not a politician and because he won't play the Capitol Hill games where everybody gets a brown paper bag, okay,
Paper bag?
he won't.
They get a carriage.
Yeah, well, listen, he won't play the games because he's a businessman and he is for America first.
And that's why they can't stand it.
He's America first. He listen. I'm going to take a straight game. I don't care, what happened in his business or whatever. When he was president of the United States, you can't deny his record and what he accomplished. And I was a big fan of Chris Cuomo, and I'm a fan of the whole Cuomo family, really. And
Would you have like a glitch?
no, and I'm watching News Nation that we were on because Chris Cuomo's on News Nation, and
They're communists. Are you kidding me?
and he goes like this.
They're the biggest bullshitters in the world.
He goes like this about the woman that was killed. And Biden had her name wrong. He pronounced her name wrong.
What else is new? What do you?
So
They probably wrote it down, right?
Chris
They screwed it up.
Cuomo comes on and says, "Yeah, an illegal killed this woman, and but you got to understand, there's more murders committed by non-illegals than there are illegals in this country.
Well,
I
that
mean, you
makes
got
it okay, yeah?
and I'm screaming at the TV, going, that's not the point. The point is, if he didn't get across the border, this college student would be alive.
Yeah.
And I looked at my daughter and I said, I will never watch this show again. And I clicked.
Well, here's the thing, too. Let's do ratios. That's how you have to really look at it. So while there's, just say hypothetically, let's say there's 1 million illegals that came over and they've killed 10 people. Well, there's been more murders from Americans on one another. Yeah, but then you're talking how many tens of millions more Americans that are here. He didn't do the ratio. He just said, well, here's the deal. Well, that's plain and simple. You want to protect them. There's no protecting them. Listen, your grandparents, my grandparents, they came over here. They went through Ellis Island. They did it the right way. Why can't they do it the right way? Why don't they get vetted? There's nothing wrong with that. They're bringing everything in here, killing Americans, and and it's the drugs and everything else.
That's why we're called WAPs, right? Because they came over with no papers from Italy, so they stamped their hand and gave them a sign to put on their little credential to put on is without papers.
Yeah.
WOP. People, that's why Italians are called WAPs, by the way.
Yeah.
So, which
I bet a lot of you didn't know that.
it doesn't offend me, really.
It doesn't bother me. But
Just
I will tell you
throw
this.
some meatballs at me and I'm happy.
Somebody used to call me a Dago,
Well, Dago, yeah.
and I had words with them.
Well, yeah. Whenever words at Roma.
I never said that again.
I didn't think so.
I told him. I said, listen, you call me Dago. You think it's funny. I don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
I said, and I don't want you to call me that anymore. You and I have a problem.
Yeah.
And you know what that was? And he stopped immediately and he apologized to me.
Yeah.
Nikolai Volkov.
Really?
Yes. Nikolai Volkov. And we settled it right there in the airport. I didn't get any further. He apologized, said it won't happen again. I said, that's good.
Roma, good for you, because I tell you what, I guarantee you this, 1,000%. He didn't call Bruno Sammartino that.
No.
Why should he call you that?
It's all about respect, right?
That's right.
And, speaking of respect, I just got to throw this out there. It has nothing to do with anything. There's a guy that's leaving Washington. Man, if I had his number, I'd call him up and try to convince him. Whether it's through, just smoozing or it's through, you can't do this.
Who's leaving?
Joe Manchin. I think he's one of the smartest people, you know what I mean? And I'm going to use this term, ready? Democrats. He gets it, man. He thinks about it. He thinks it all out. He just doesn't say, okay, I'm a Democrat. Here's the deal. Done. I have to vote this way. He cares about America. And I got to give kudos to him I really hope you don't leave. I know you're probably fed up. You had enough.
I was just going to
People
say.
are pressuring your other cohorts.
I
are
was just going to
pressuring
say
you.
he's probably sick of it.
Yeah, and you don't want to fold, and I get you, man. But a lot of respect here from Hey Roma.
Gabe, you guys are laughing back there. I'm assuming there's questions and they're like real flippy. So why don't you pop them out?
I'll shoot a couple quick ones. We'll go rapid fire. I'll go political and wrestling mix. First one, well, long one for the first one. Here in the Portland, Maine area, we are giving away brand new free apartments, freshly built, rent, and for at least 2 years.
I'm coming up. I'm going to move. I'm moving right now.
You have to not be from the United States. That's the beginning.
Well, wait a minute now. I got that covered. Let me show you how fast my mind works. I identify as a non-American. And then I get a free apartment. I'll probably get a card where I could go buy food, right? I mean, this could work for me right now. You know that, right? I could really exploit the American people here and what they're going to give me. And then we'll get on the show, hey, Roma, what'd you get for free today from the American people?
Well,
and I can tell everybody.
Who posed this question?
Rick Howard.
Rick?
You know I'm not going to do that, Rick.
Rick, my daughter spent a year up in Presque Isle, and I visited her at least once a month, 8 hours and 45 minutes away from me. And this is not a good thing, and I'm going to tell you why. There is a huge drug problem in Presque Isle, Maine. Now, Roma and I know, have worked in Portland, Maine, meaning wrestled. You know, you got to remember something about a wrestling career. You could say you went to Hawaii. You could say you went to Los Angeles. You went to, I went to the Cayman Islands. I might have sat on the beach for 2 hours. Wrestlers go in, they do their thing, they get in the room, they do their thing, they wrestle, they get out. So it's like, oh, what did you see? Where did you go? What? No, I went there, spent a couple hours, focused on what I had to do, and then went to the airport and flew out. So we didn't, obviously I spent a lot of time in Presque Isle, where on Main Street, if you walked out in the morning on the sidewalk, and my daughter lived right on Main Street, right next to a McDonald's. And, you know, I'd get up before her because there was a Tim Hortons down the street and they had Bismarck Donuts. So, God, I miss those Bismarck donuts.
Yeah, let me tell you, I'm glad I wasn't up there with you.
Oh, my
Just so you know.
God.
You know what the hell would happen.
Well, I know. That
Yeah.
Bismarck donut would have been up my ass. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, right. Anyway.
you know, there were syringes on the sidewalks and stuff like that. So I don't know how Portland is, but when you talk about the illegals coming in and the drug lords coming in, it's just that is going to pollute Portland, Maine.
Without a doubt.
It's going to pollute it.
Yeah. Not good news, man.
What's next, Gabe?
Next in the rapid fire. We'll go. Did Roma meet Trump at WrestleMania 4 or 5?
I believe it was 4. Wasn't that in Atlantic City? Because sworn it was in Atlantic City.
Well, Roma, let
There
me
was one in LA.
let me answer your question.
Yeah, go on.
I wasn't there.
But we talked about it. You know what I mean?
They didn't need any jobbers at WrestleMania.
I think it was the earlier of the two. Super nice guy, really down to earth. We had not a long conversation, but conversation at that. And man, I walked away from this guy and I went, "Wow, this guy is all right." I mean, to me, he was very wealthy, a tycoon, for lack of a better word. And no, he spoke to me like a real gentleman. I appreciated that.
Next. Mr. Roma, did you ever wrestle Owen Hart?
No, I roomed with Owen Hart. Owen Hart is what you would want if you had a daughter old enough to date. That's the kind of guy you'd want her to bring home. One of the kind of guys you'd want her to bring home.
Nice guy, man.
Super, super nice guy. He's an absolute prankster.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
And I just got to bring this up. him and I roomed together, and I believe we were in Canada. We roomed together, and I said, listen, I'm going to take a nap. So he's like, yeah, So all of a sudden, I fall asleep, and I hear this screech in my ear. The loudest screech you could possibly think of. Like, did you see Cousin Vinny? Of course you did, right? Remember when he's in that cabin and that owl is
Yeah.
He comes running out and he fires the gun.
Yeah.
Quiet.
Yeah.
That was Owen, that owl, in my ear. I levitated up off the bed. You know what I mean? Because I just came unglued. I was sleeping, and he's laughing. He thought it was the greatest thing in the world, and I started laughing too because it was just Owen. This is who Owen was. Owen is a sweetheart of a person. If I make the mistake of ever saying was, it is definitely a mistake. I don't like to speak about anyone who I've known, that I'm speaking of in past tense, that he's passed away. I like to speak in the now. And so if you get a little confused, that is how I speak about people that are no longer here physically. To me, they're still here.
People are getting mad at me, right?
But people are getting mad at you.
Yeah, they are. All right. Oh, because they're not on the show; they're on TikTok. What else is going on, Gabe?
We got one for you now, Mr. Mancini. What is your thoughts on being set up with Nikki Haley instead of Kamala Harris?
No, she's too skinny. I don't know. Nikki doesn't do it for me. Kamala, you know who really does it for me?
Listen, we're turning this into a dating show.
Big time. I mean, huge. Like I stare at my TV.
Wait a minute.
Michelle Obama. I think she's gorgeous.
So now you're into guys.
She is absolutely.
Really, you're
Michelle Obama is absolutely
so now you're coming
gorgeous.
out of the closet on a national show.
Michelle Obama is absolutely gorgeous.
Wow. And next week, we're going to have a new co-host here. Not to worry.
All right, Daniel, calm down here. I think it's going to get very volatile this summer. Do you guys load up on MRI's emergency food store? Michelle Obama is a man, Mario. What is going on with you, brother? Listen, here's the deal.
He's got a sideshow.
Listen. I have to respect the people on TikTok. Listen,
respect them. They could chime in. And
they could chime in on Hey Roma. I know. But listen, he makes a really good point, which I will tell.
Then he could go through
which I will tell you. The guardian of chaos.
Okay.
Big Daddy.
You got my attention right there.
Guardian of chaos.
You got my ear.
Big Daddy. Okay? Far from one of the smartest guys.
Very smart.
Thinkers.
Intelligent.
That I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I know he doesn't think the way you do about Michelle Obama.
He has military rations at his house.
No, I get that.
To last a year.
I get that. Hey, listen, a good buddy of mine, I think he's dug a hole already. And he's building,
They're going to hit the grid. Big Daddy always says to him, Mancini, you got enough water, you got this, you got that, because you know what? He's prepared. He's got, and that's what Daniel's asking. I mean, do we have rations to in case something happens?
Listen, let me explain something to you. I have a very good friend of mine, longtime friend.
Yeah.
And, he started telling me about buying rations and all this stuff. And you know what I said to him? So I said to him, if it comes down to it, I don't want to survive a nuclear war. I don't want to live like that. There's no way to live.
Well, the radiation will eat you alive.
Exactly. And I'm going to live in a hole.
It'll make you
shit in a can.
It'll make you look like The Walking
I'm going to stay
Dead.
down there for 10 years. I'm going to buy enough food for 10 years. And when I come out, what quality of life am I going to have?
I don't know. I think my focus.
And I can see you walking around like the Walking Dead trying to eat me or something.
Well, if you shape yourself like a Twinkie.
Wow. Anything look like a Twinkie to you.
That's true. But I would think more for our children, you know what I mean? To keep them safe, maybe they might have a future.
Seriously? Really? That's the way you're thinking. That's the way they think. I get it. I understand them. I don't condemn them for what they're doing. I'm just not going to dig that hole and build that, fallout shelter. You know what I mean? My thought is grab my child, my wife, whomever's there in the house with me at the time, and just hug them and hold them until that wave passes and just disintegrates us.
Like when the Titanic was sinking.
No, not quite. This is going to be a lot.
Well, they were
faster than
hugging
that.
and everything. They knew they were going down.
Jack.
I don't give a
let
shit.
you go,
Listen,
Jack,
I don't give
if you let the
a.
guy
I
go.
don't give a shit what anybody says. He could have fit on that door.
You're damn right.
He
And
could
she
have
let
fit
him
on
go.
that door.
That's right. My daughter right now, that's all she says is, she could have put him on.
Did you see her? Did you see her when she was letting go? I'll never
Incredible.
forget you, Jack.
Yeah.
It was almost like, get off me.
Yeah.
How about Jack when he decided he couldn't get on the door and he's like, every time I see that scene, I put the words in it. Well, this was a good idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For what? For what? He got laid once.
Jack.
And you thought I was bad.
I'll never let you go, Jack.
Gabe, obviously you
There's
have
a boat.
you have
Get
a
the hell
funny
off my hand,
you have a
Jack.
funny question.
You're dragging me down.
I just Chad Haps replied.
Who?
Chad Haps replies that you're right. Michelle Obama is a very handsome woman.
Yeah, baby.
You guys are
He
wrong.
knows.
And
Chad
then
knows.
Rick
He
Howard
knows.
asks if you guys have seen the video that Diamond Dallas Page posted with Marcus Bagwell and Scotty Riggs. Apparently, they're very cleaned up and are doing very well.
I'm glad they brought that up.
Yeah.
I want to say something about Mr. Bagwell.
Yep.
You all know this about me. If you don't know it about me, you should. If you've been following me from our last podcast to now this one, which this is the real deal right here, all right? There are plenty of people that I have things to say about. But on the flip side, as I may have something bad to say, I will also say something, if I have to correct myself. I just recently ran into Marcus Bagwell. Looks great, has a total attitude change, cleaned up his act, and forgive me, I forget her name, but she's had a lot to do with it to keep him on that straight and narrow, and I think that's a blessing. She's been a great asset to him. And what's, again, back then, and he came up to me, and he said, hey, I was an asshole back then. I was like, oh, good. I get that. That's great. But that changed. And I was a little apprehensive about going over there. I wanted to say hi to him because I hadn't seen him. But I was worried about, am I going to see that same person again? And guess what? I did not.
Never met him.
And I take back, as far as me still thinking that he was still that same guy that's an asshole. No, he is. He was far from that. And I appreciate him now that he's changed, that he's really cleaned up his act. And, he thinks differently now, which is nice. And not just because I agree with it. Just he's changed, and it's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful. It's just like Jake Roberts. Jake.
Yeah,
Jake
I didn't
changed.
know those things about Jake.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Jake changed. He's ready to get married again to what he says the woman of his dreams, and I always liked Jake. I didn't like because. Roma, we're close. I didn't like the attitude he had toward you, but I generally always liked Jake, and I'm glad he got when I went up to Jake in 2014, 10 years ago, at the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, and I put my arms around him. I actually have a picture of that on my Facebook.
It's over there.
Yeah.
I said, you better go over and shake his hand and say hi to him. I said, because I don't think he's going to last much longer.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, I
And you
remember
got
that.
up and darted
I
over to
went
the
over
guy.
there and because he had oxygen in his nose.
Right.
And I said, Jake, are you okay? And he jerked his head back and he looked at me like he was going to cut a promo, and he still called me kid.
Well, you are a kid to him.
Well, he goes, kid, don't listen to everything people say and don't believe everything you read. I said, okay, Jake, and that was it.
Yeah, listen, I've turned another cheek towards Jake. I know we don't get along. I know when he sees me.
Yeah, but
he'll
Roma,
flip me off, I
you
off
flip him the
back,
bird, he flips it.
that's
But
fine.
you know what, Roma? This is what made me angry because and I still do. I really do, and still do admire you because, listen, I've worked out, and I got my body in Mario Mancini shape, which is like a power lifter kind of shape between 89 and 90. I finally got serious. I lost like 36 pounds. I was competing in the American Powerlifting Association in the 242-pound class. I was deadlifting, squatting, benching. I was squatting at the time. I was squatting 500 pounds, which is unheard of for somebody like me. And even Strongbow would joke around and say, "Oh, Mr. Roma," and I'd go, "No, Chief, not quite."
Yeah,
But I got in a really good shape. But this is the point I'm making. I worked so hard to get in that little shape I was in. I busted my ass. So when I look out at Paul Roma, I can't even fathom the kind of work he had to put in to look like that. Had to be insurmountable. And so that's like nuts. That's really like dedicating your life to it.
But we did train for a short period of time together.
Oh, we did.
And, again, you had a different perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So you went from what you were doing, which was powerlifting.
Right.
Or, how can I say this? Limited movements.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Limited reps.
Yeah.
And then you came into what we considered my world.
Yeah.
And then that all changed, and you had a different perspective, and you had a better understanding, and a better respect.
And to this day, when I make it to the gym, I do the same workout, man. I high rep down to a lower. I do the same. I do the Roma workout. Anybody who asks, "Hey, you got any advice how to work out?" I go, "Yeah, like Roma. This is what you do," because he's nice enough to go in there and show me, and that's what you do, man. But you don't cheat yourself. You do what you can do. You max out on what you can do with your reps. You just don't put any reps and get an easy 25 out of it. You got to make sure that you do the right thing. Right. But it really to put in that kind of work, that's a tremendous amount of work. And let me tell you something, just so the people that don't know, who's never squatted like 500 pounds. So to get it off the rack, when you break parallel, it feels like tons of weight are on you. It's so scary. And like I squatted it and came up and racked it. And they're like, "Well, you might be able to do 550 or 575. I didn't know you were that strong to squat 5 and get up that fast." I go, "I wasn't. I was scared." Because it feels like your whole body's going to crush. You know what I mean? So it really is it's a lot of. And that, what?
You're doubling yours.
Well, I'm proud to say that with everything that's gone at the age of, on the precipice of 58 years old in June, the thing I do have left are my quads. I really do. So I'm thankful for that. So, but next week, hopefully we have Stephen Lee on here, because, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a segment called "Where in the World Is," and we will get Stephen Lee to pop out a name, and then we're asking social media, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, somebody who's watching the show, if they're in that area or heard of the guy, to get them in touch with Stephen Lee, or even one of the guy's friends,
or even us, right?
Or get a hold of us, even if he's passed away, so we know where he is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
very, very important. This is something that we're going to,
right,
really elaborate on. It's going to snowball. There's no doubt it's going to snowball. This is huge. Where in the world is,
right,
and then we're going to go from there. So very important to us, very important to all our veterans out there. We can never elaborate on that enough. That's for sure.
Well, yeah, we can.
All they've done for us.
I never thank our veterans enough.
And I saw Tunnel to Towers. They do that, a lot of commercials on that, and it breaks my heart. It really does break my heart to see that, and it's great everything that they're doing, and we want to be able to do something that's a little different than that, but still able to help and fund our veterans, because they maybe call in, but maybe they're struggling, PTSD, right? I mean, this is
It's real.
It's very
It's
real.
real.
And
Absolutely.
we want to be able to do everything that we can. That's one of our goals. Some people don't have goals. We do. This is something that we need to get done, get started, get it to a point where we can hand it off to somebody, and they can continue on with this journey, and it can go obviously right into where we are now with our current military, even after we're dead and gone, right? I mean, that's really what it's all about.
Yeah.
Is to keep something really great going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do we have anything else going on there, Gabe? I mean, we have a co-producer here tonight. He's overseeing Gabe.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And from the looks of it, he's having like a really good time.
Yeah.
So Gabe, go ahead, poke it out.
I'll shoot you. I got two. We'll do the quick one first, though. Has AEW contacted you guys about the Boston show coming up? That's by Rick Howard.
No, but we both contacted AEW. Actually, Tony Khan. Because in our opinion, that product can be a lot better.
Yes.
So
For less money.
And I understand that they just took a big loss. I'm vague about it, but it was like millions or something. I don't. They're taking big hits. Listen, you can't reinvent the wheel. I mean, you guys could look at me and say, Mario, you're so out of touch. But let me tell you something. If the wrestling world, the community, if they enjoy the backstage banter, if they enjoy 15-minute promos in the ring, if they enjoy watching an hour of wrestling and only seeing 3 matches, then I'm wrong. But where I come from wrestling. So I think, if AEW got back to wrestling, and I have to say, not because he's just sitting next to me, Roma has the best storylines. How he comes up with them, I don't know, but he has the best storylines. And I just don't. I just don't. All these, high spots. How many super kicks can you watch? How many?
Well, here's the other thing too. This is what owners. You keep people that are really smart around you, and that makes you look smarter.
Wrestling people.
Yes, but here's the problem. The problem is you have people there that are in it for themselves.
Right.
You don't have people, hired people, that want to see your product get that much better.
Right.
They take that paycheck from you, and they hope that you're there next week.
Right.
And then they hope that you're there next week. And then they hope that you're there next week.
Right.
All they care about is that paycheck. They don't care about making the product better and making it a force. You know what I'm saying? Making it number 1 up on the charts. When a singer sings a song, her whole that whole song she wants it to get to number 1. That's the deal. That's what sells. And then people buy the album. And even if they don't like any of the other songs on the album, on the vinyl, that's okay. But you made the sale. And in wrestling, it's the same thing. You have to have product so people want to watch the rest of the show. When you're talking out of an hour match and you're talking for 40 minutes, you're just bantering in and out, and how long is your matches? Like you said, you have 3 matches. I paid all this money at a Mania to see 3 matches, and the rest people are talking. I'm getting ripped off. I don't need this. Now you're going to 2 days of Mania. How much talking can I listen to?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, going back to what you said, especially you brought up AEW, or they brought up AEW, that's the problem. You have all these people that all they care about is themselves. They don't care about the company.
The product.
You need people that are there to keep your company alive. You know, when I wrestled for the WWF, do you know what my nightmare was if I had one? Which it was that they weren't going to be there tomorrow. I made it, right? I'm wrestling for the WWF, but what if Vince closes the doors tomorrow? That's what I was worried about. When I got out of wrestling, I worked for a company selling technology, right? Servers, laptops, computers, you name it. And I said to my boss one day, I said, you know what? I'm doing really well here, really well. And they knew who I was. They actually hired me because of who I was. My boss was a wrestling fan, which got me the job, and that's fine. And I said one day, I said, you know what my biggest fear is? Is if I come in one day and the doors are closed. I said, I don't think these people get that. So we were in a meeting with our group, and I got up and told them, this is what I'm worried about, that we're going to come in one day and the doors are going to be closed. I said, you're all chuckling, but that's reality. If you're not thinking that way, then you're an idiot. And you know what? All joking aside, within a year's time, I walked through that door. My boss grabbed me, pulled me aside, and he said, we're closing the doors. And I went, are you kidding me?
There you go.
No.
There you go.
We're closing the doors.
There you go.
And I was like, wow.
There you go.
I mean, that's an eye-opener. And we went into a meeting. I turned to everybody there on my team. And that's exactly what I said to them. I said, I told you this almost a year ago. And you all laughed. I said, and now reality just set in.
There you go.
Have a good time getting a new job, paying you the money that we were making. It's crazy. And again, I cared about every time I worked for somebody, I cared about that company because they're paying my bills at the end of the day. I mean, I worked for it, but they're paying my bills. And that's what these guys just don't understand. They're caring about themselves. They're not worried about tomorrow. They think tomorrow is promised to them. Tomorrow is promised to nobody, especially a job in this day and age. So you know what? Shame on you, Tony Khan, for what you're doing. I don't think you could be making money, but maybe you have an unlimited supply, right? You have that little oil well, and when you need that oil, you just hit that little spigot and it fills up. But eventually that oil well does go dry. Maybe not for you for a long time. Maybe it'll outlast me, and that's fine. Good for you. But that's just how I see it. So
There you go.
that's what I say.
There you go.
What else we got there, Gabe? We only have a few minutes left, folks, so.
Did you guys think the Mel Phillips stories are true? Did he act normal around you guys?
You want that, or you want me to
Well, you know what? I know for a fact the Mel Phillips stories were true, and let me tell you something. Here's a weird one for you. I lost the live. It shut down.
That's okay.
Here's a weird.
They got to get on YouTube. Anyway.
Here's the weird story for you. Okay, so I was 19 years old, and I was engaged, and I walked in. Well, let's start at the beginning first. So, when I was 19, I got engaged, and I walked into Pastorell's Quest, and Roma was in the ring, and I said, "Oh, it'll work out with Roma in the ring." And I went in there and had a big smile on my face, and I went, "I just got engaged." And Roma smiled, and he said, "Hey, kid, congratulations!" And he shook my hand and pulled me in so quickly and slammed me before I could even blink, and he drove me into the canvas, and I looked up at him and I said, "What did you do that for?" He goes, "You idiot. Why would you do that?" And it turns out he was right. Anyway, I'd go into the dressing room and I'd say, "Mel, I got engaged." And he goes, "Oh, Mario, that's a waste of time." And then I got married, and I'd go into the dressing room and I had my wedding ring on, and I'd hold it up to Mel. "Look, Mel," and he'd go, "Never work." And, I would sit there and go, why is this guy so, against marriage and stuff? Well, I didn't know he was playing with, 9-year-olds' toes. So,
Right. Oh, not just 9.
or 11-year-olds, 12-year-olds.
Even grown men.
Yeah, he was sucking on somebody's toes when they woke up.
Yeah, actually, he did wake up to him sucking on his toes.
Yeah.
In Europe.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I was on that tour.
Yeah, he was sucking on his
It didn't
toes.
turn out well for Mel.
Yeah,
I hope it tasted good while he had it.
Yeah, it didn't turn out.
He must have thought it was like chicken wings.
No, but they actually had to send him home from overseas because he was getting terrorized by the guys for sucking on this person's toes.
Yeah.
So, Mel has passed away.
You think he thought that the toes were chitlins?
I don't know.
Because I mean, you know what chitlin
Jesus
is, right?
God, I don't.
I mean, that could be the case.
I don't know.
They weren't pickled or anything.
I don't.
Or
There weren't
fried,
pickled feet. No, but I don't know.
They may have tasted like pickles, but
Listen, everybody's got their thing. I got my thing, but my thing's normal. My thing's normal. Meaning, just call me Sir Mix-a-Lot. I mean, that's a normal attraction for a man. Either you're a boob guy or a butt guy, and I'm a butt guy. Now, other than that, the toes or, whatever, I don't know what else it could be,
listen, I just want to cut you off for a second. I'll talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
But this ain't one of them. You follow what I'm saying?
Well, I hear you.
know
I was going to say, it's not like Tony Atlas. Everybody publicly knows that Tony likes to get walked on. And
listen, a lot of people get walked on. But
no, you literally on his face. He likes to.
I understand. I've seen it.
It's not the feet with Tony. It's the It's the loafers.
It's the shoes.
It's the shoes.
I get it.
It's the shoes.
I've seen it.
It's the shoes.
Yeah, not good.
I got a video of it in my phone.
Yeah, no, we're not showing that.
No.
Okay, you want to show Mancini's Maniacs? They're probably out there with you. But as far as Roma Nation, they don't want to see that.
No,
and if they do, they can write in.
I understand.
And then we'll,
but Roma Nation might not want to see that. But there's a reason why my people are called maniacs. They might want to see it.
They might. That's very true.
So
very true. Listen, love the show. I love that everybody showed up again. Pass this along because listen, we got to build this, man. This has got to snowball.
Are there any other questions, Gabe?
Quick one, as we're running out of time.
It's got to be a quick one. We're running out.
John Tenta, Dark Side of the Ring episode seemed like a really good dude. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I never had a problem with
No,
John.
I think he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I mean, real low key.
Yeah, he had like a 4'11" Oriental wife. It was hilarious.
Yeah, and he's a monster.
He's a monster.
I mean,
she was
like
tiny. Yeah, she was tiny.
But sweetheart of a man.
Yeah.
Really soft spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, great guy.
I like George. I like the one-man gang. Without his glasses, he'd literally walk out to the ring. I like working with him. The bell rang, and he's like looking across the ring to me like this. Yeah. I was literally blind, man. He was so blind.
Yeah, he was just squint.
Yeah. He was. Yeah. It was just so blind. He was funny.
So you want to close? You want me to close?
You can close, Mr. Roma.
Close. All right. Listen, we covered a lot. I'm not going to run down that list. I am so glad everybody that showed up did so. Again, pass it along to your friends, family, and you could decide. Actually, you could be part of Roma Nation. You could be part of Mancini's Maniacs. You could be one or the other. We're not going to get into a fight with each other. Neither are you. But we just we kind of gauge things on that. Who has the bigger gang?
There's no doubt Roma Nation is enormous.
Listen, all joking aside.
We got catching up to do, guys.
Right.
Roma Nation is enormous. At one point, over 1 million.
Yeah.
1 million.
Listen, we're bringing them all back. We're bringing Roma Nation back. But in the meantime, we still want to see Mancini's Maniac. So until next Friday, everybody be safe.
Have a good weekend.
God bless our military. God bless you. And we love that.